Alright everyone, I never outlined what it is I'm working on at the beginning. I'm going to outline it now. It's a Robotech Defenders kit, Talos to be specific. Okay, it's a 1/48 scale kit. This is one I have. The plastic's slightly torn on the box, but I'm not going to tear the plastic off the rest of the way and open it. Although I think I could. Simply because these things sell for quite a bit of money on eBay. They don't make them anymore and they're hard to find. I built the kit a while back. You've seen it in the Gundam videos, and you've seen it in the one of my channel updates. Here's what's left of the legs. When I said a while back, this is like 20 years ago. And I knew nothing of seams at the time, filling seams. I just didn't. I didn't like them. I think some of you know I still don't like them. Okay? So, looking at the kit from my perspective this year, it wasn't worth redoing the seams. It had masking tape over the canopy for 15 years. Some of you right there are cringing because you know that did not clean off. And I'm not going to try to clean it off the canopy. So I decided I'm going to use it as an experiment for rusting. So there's my introduction to this. It is a Robotech Defenders kit, Talos. Okay? And yes, I have one in the box, so I can do it properly one day and get it built correctly. So you guys can see what it's supposed to look like. I have that gun. That gun is going to be a painting experiment in the next 2 or 3 days. Mainly is a precursor to the big Gundam RX-78. So once I get that gun painted, then I feel okay to get on the Gundam RX-78. Okay? That's my practice for that. And this is a practice of rusting. In case I want to paint chip this guy up here, do some work on him, the RX-78's above me. Anyhow, my camera's telling me I have 4 minutes of video time left before the memory's full. So I'm going to stop. And you guys can see the videos from here. Alright, found the problem. I didn't have the compressor turned on. No air pressure if you don't have the compressor turned on. It would explain why she was orange peeling too. Now, I'm not worried about the orange peel. This thing's supposed to be rusted up, and metal will look that way when it's rusted. So the textures that are coming out of that, I'm not worried about. Again, this is also a practice piece. Keep that in mind as well. There we go. I thought it sounded funny that that thing was not running. Now I'm putting this on pretty thick. Probably shouldn't do that. And you can tell I didn't even bother with seams on this. This was years upon years ago when I built this thing, like 20 years ago. Now, I wasn't worried about seams then. Being 100% honest with you, I was not.
using more of this paint than I thought I would, but that's okay. It was free. I'm going to quit recording because you guys have seen me spray paint I don't know how many times. I'll just cut to the final end of that. Alright, here's the conclusion. Okay? The Model Flex paints harder to airbrush with than Tamiya. That's for certain. Okay? They cover fairly well. I have to use a higher pressure, I think, than what I'm using now. Looks like they're drying alright. I can still smell them, so they're not cured. They'll probably be cured by tomorrow. I'm going to hit that with a different color tomorrow. I would much rather use the Tamiya paints. I'm going to tell you that right now. Much rather use the Tamiya paints. I can't say they're horrible paint, though. It took me longer to clean the airbrush up than it would with Tamiya. It's nice that they're ready right out of the jar, but they're thicker than I would like. They need to be thinned a little bit. I'm going to try, if I use it again tomorrow, I'm going to try thinning it with some distilled water. I actually have close to distilled water on tap at the house. They don't suck. Bonus! As far as I can tell, right now they don't suck. We will wait and see what happens when I start doing some other stuff with this thing. Alright. I'll be back later. Okay, it's been close to 24 hours since I sprayed the Model Flex paint. My fingers are a little wet, and I don't like touching acrylic paints with wet fingers. We're going to take a smell test. It smells okay. It's pretty much cured. Looks like it did a good job coating. Now, that was over a primer. That primer had been on there for 14 years, most likely. Yeah, this is a real shelf queen. I just looked at it one day and said, I am not attempting to fix any of that. So we're going to try something. Over the Model Flex, we're going to put some Tamiya paint and see what happens. I went and bought some Tamiya paints. Thunder made his way in here. He doesn't like being alone. My work area has gotten a little scattered there. That's the family work area. That's my work area. Go figure. Anyhow, I bought some Tamiya paints. They're in that bag. Let's talk about what I bought. Alright? In addition to Tamiya paints, I bought an SD from the Strike Nor. I've already had the Blitz Gundam for a little while. Thunder's walking on BB's new model. If I can get there. One of those. That's for BB. We'll get to it soon. I also picked this up for myself. A triangular UFO. And a fine vintage apple juice. Okay. Sitting here, we have colors. Now, Tamiya does not have a good rust color. It's part of the problem. So I'm going to try to make my own rust with these colors here. That looks like a good rust color, but it's metallic. And I don't think that matters because I'll hit it with a flat coat. It might actually work well. There's some other colors. But these are for my rust making. Yes, there's a lime yellow in there. And there's flesh. Let's go through them one at a time. Flesh. This is whole red. This is red brown. I've got 2 bottles of this, dark copper. I've got 2 bottles of this, which is metallic brown. And yellow green. I'm going to get over to the spray booth. We're going to get set up for Tamiya paints. I'm going to mix some colors. We're going to see what we get. I'm going to start a notebook writing down all my paint mixes for different colors of things and what I've used them for, so that I have a journal, a record of it. All right, so I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, we're here in the spray booth, and I wanted to talk about something real quick. I have 2 different thinners for Tamiya paints, okay? And I don't mix it with alcohol or anything. I use, yeah, my name's on there. Just no address, so it's okay. That was special order. I special ordered this at my local hobby shop. I start off using this. I don't use alcohol with my Tamiya paints. I know you can use alcohol on them. I've just found it's troublesome. It dries too quickly. This dries a little bit better. Tamiya paints still dry quickly. They're dry to the touch within an hour. By the next day, they're cured. It's one of the reasons why I like them. I can do a paint job tonight, and tomorrow everything's good. I'm probably going to use this on this model here. This stuff I will use when I'm painting on bare plastic. If I don't put a primer coat down, I'm going to get this out and paint with this, because the paint binds to the plastic just a little bit better. It's a little harder to get off there. Okay? So I flip back and forth between my Tamiya thinners. Now, I need to get a couple of things. I'm not completely set up to go here. Close to it. Not quite. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay. I'm holding my airbrush needle in my hands because it was jammed in the airbrush. And as I run my hands over it, I can feel some ridges right in here, where that Model Flux paint cured up inside the airbrush. I'm not very happy with that, so I'm going to run some lacquer thinner through the airbrush before I do anything else tonight. That'll help clear that up, and I'm going to clean that off here before I even put the needle back in. But here's my basic setup for Tamiya paints. I have my thinner. I have alcohol in this tube for cleanup, and then I use airbrush cleaner after that. I like the Createx cleaner. The vent, okay? I will use lacquer thinner sometimes, not always. Tamiya paints don't require it. I have a mixing bowl. I got this at IKEA. It was like 25 cents. I got like 3 or 4 of them. I wish I'd gotten like 10. Being stainless steel, they clean out really nice and real easily. I have 2 eyedroppers. One for paint, one for thinner. So I don't have to stop and clean. And of course the airbrush. This one's the Patriot Badger 105. I'm going to clean the needle out and clean out the inside chamber a little bit. You've seen me do that before, so I'm not going to bore you with that one. I got my old lacquer thinner here. I'm just going to get cleaning. When it's ready to go, I'll come back. Well, we took a repeated trip to San Antonio just for a little bit. We picked up Nellie's parents at the airport in Austin, and San Antonio is only about an hour drive from there, hour and a half. We're at the Alamo. This is a really big old oak tree, probably been here for 300 years. This is called the Long Building behind me. It's the barracks they used. Priests were once housed here. This is the oldest building in San Antonio, built in 1724. There's a map of the Alamo complex. Okay, I'm going in here. I'm going to go find the family. There's some weapons they used. Mother-in-law. Father-in-law. Miss Nellie.
Mommy, are those collections?
Arrowheads.
Collections, mira el perrito.
We'll be back.
Alright.
Sorry about that last clip. I got told I cannot record video inside the buildings. Did not know that. And now we got BB climbing on a cannon. Reminds me of the scene from Dr. Strangelove and how I learned to love the bomb. Slim Pickens riding off into the sunset going, yee-haw! Put your hand up and do this, BB. Yee-haw! There we go, Slim Pickens right there. BB, you want to get on the big one?
Ve al grande. A ver, pónganse ahí.
We got the in-laws here. And BB's climbing on the big one. There we go. Hey, Mr. Squirrel.
Oh, ya están.
Squirrel's doing what squirrels do, and everyone stops to take a picture of him because he's so close.